Hello and welcome to episode 179 of DCP SideQuest, this week with 100% more Crocs.
Fran's got some. He's dying to show us.
It's absolutely not happening, ever.
I can't believe how against Crocs you are. You have like a war against them.
It's just such a fashion curse.
It's so
I don't
comfy, though.
understand it.
It's so
How's it a
comfy.
fashion curse when so many famous fashion things work with Crocs?
It's true.
And fashion people and bands. And...
Do they work, though? We can go back through fashion that worked, and then you realize later, that didn't work so well. People just did it. It
No,
was a
I'm
trend.
saying they do. Like Crocs started being worn by a lot of people outside of just the I want to be comfy in my shoes crowd when they did collaborations with like super famous street artists and all the cool people. They did a bunch of collabs with a bunch of cool people.
Well,
And
if
everyone
none of
was
those,
like,
if they weren't paid by them to do it, then all right, I'll be more convinced.
Have you guys ever seen
I'm
the
bad against
movie
Crocs.
Idiocracy?
No.
In Idiocracy, the plot of the movie is like an average guy from like now gets transported like far into the future where the average population has gotten very stupid. And one of the funny things is everybody
Current
wears
day.
Crocs. Like everybody wears Crocs. And the costume designer was asked about it one time, and they said that, well, we were looking for like kind of like basic shoes for everybody to wear because everybody's supposed to look the same. And they found Crocs, and it was before Crocs became popular because this is like 2001 that movie came out. And he brought it to the director, and they're kind of like, well, what if these get popular? They both kind of look at the shoe and look at each other like, that's not going to happen.
Oh, wow.
So they put the whole cast in Crocs, thinking like nobody would ever know what these are. They look like custom-made shoes just
Now
for the
they're
movie.
super popular.
Yeah.
look at this. We got Bad Bunny Crocs, Post Malone Crocs, Balenciaga
Post Malone,
Crocs.
a fashion icon.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's going on with the Crocs?
McLaughlin. But so many. I got Barbie Crocs.
You got Barbie Crocs? Let's
I got
see 'em.
Barbie Crocs.
I want to see.
Okay.
Oh my god, those are amazing.
Yeah.
Those are like
What's the dazzle thing on?
platform
What are the
Crocs.
plugins called?
The gibbets.
You got gibbets.
So it comes
Did
with
those come with
Barbie
it?
gibbets, and then I added some anime gibbets to them.
That's amazing.
I will say
I'm
that
so proud of you, Watts.
yeah, the gibbets are a big improvement. I mean, the irony, right, is they're trying to plug these holes, these unsightly holes, with something that looks cool and better, and it
I
does
like
help.
I just like the platform.
How
Platform
tall
is
are
great. I
those?
love the- I think it adds about
3 inches or so.
I think because the back end is like 5,
Really?
4 or
Wow.
5, 4 or 5 inches. Yeah.
Wow, those are
There you go,
impressive
the-
Crocs.
The Barbie Crocs got the glitter in there. Very
Oh, they
nice.
got like rubber soles. Are those rubber or foam? The soles.
I have no idea.
Oh
I don't know
man,
how to tell.
it's not gonna be a good episode.
Yep.
My
And
bad.
the gibbets. Look, there's a
I'm so
there's a-
like ostracized.
There's
now,
a
like,
Barbie dream house on there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
I do
every little girl
like the
wanted a dream
gibbets.
of Barbie.
Yeah.
but
Gibbets
just
are cool.
Do you have 15
know.
pieces of flair on those Crocs?
Flare, jeez, wow, that's a throwback. I've 100% forgot about that movie.
I got gibbets.
Oh my god, you got so
There's-
many gibbets. It's like
I
a whole
got
bag of
so-
gibbets.
I got a whole bag of gibbets. They're all anime gibbets, so it's not gonna focus.
There it goes. Yeah,
Bunch of anime gibbets.
Nice.
It was on Prime Day sale.
Oh,
That's
really?
nice.
The bag of
Yeah.
gibbets is on
Whole
Prime Day?
bag of
Prime Day
gibbets.
gibbets.
I bought
I hate both words so much.
I
though.
bought a new
Why-
parasol.
Gibbets is a great word, though. It's a
did-
fun
Did
word.
they make it? Are gibbets just for Crocs or are like gibbets?
It's
a
for
thing?
Crocs.
Oh yeah, there's like it's
They
not
call
like a
them gibbets.
pin. It's like you kind of like gotta like push it
I
in.
hate it so much. An improvement though.
Well, that's good news, but I got some bad news.
Uh-oh.
I was just reading this article. This is on NPR, but I think it was done by like the Video Game Research Foundation. Is that right? I don't know who it was done by. Doesn't matter.
Sounds very legit.
The
Not generic
study
at all.
is that the numbers are that only 13% of all the video games ever made are currently commercially available. So it's 87%.
Oh man,
87% of video games you can't buy anymore.
I saw this floating
that's
around
really
actually.
sad.
Isn't that crazy?
That's really sad.
Yeah, it is. It is wild to hear that number, and yeah, I know some preservationists. That's where I saw in my tweet threads and whatnot. Where it's saying, yeah, like that's why it's so important to preserve the history of games because it's way more than you think is not available.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all sorts of stories like going around about like how like certain games like can never be remastered because the source code has been lost too.
Mhm.
So like even if they
Yeah.
wanted to make it commercially available again, I think it was it Planescape. I can't remember. There's a bunch of them though. It's like, you know,
I'm sure.
especially I think in Japan is they just didn't keep the stuff around. Like once they released the game, it's
Mm.
kind of like, you know, on to the next thing. Where you know we're not gonna just store all this stuff. It's just gonna cost us a ton of money and you know server space and all that.
Yeah. Yes, that is unfortunate and wild. At least it's being talked about now, though. So these things that potentially, like, I'm sure every day more are lost. So hopefully,
Yeah.
that awareness
Yeah.
helps with that. I mean, there's foundations that raise money, so to do exactly this, like preserve and save this stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
have time to go back and play all those games, but
No.
I do think they should be preserved.
But sometimes I like to go back and play old games. It's fun.
Yeah. I wish that they were not being lost and you could absolutely work towards a future where everything is available on the cloud in the future.
Yeah.
It's just going to be forever redundant, backed up, like any other piece of data, as well as the physical, you got to save too. So,
Speaking of the
but
cloud,
at least, what's that? Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the
segue.
cloud. Yeah.
Mm.
Xbox Live
Really?
Gold is gone. It's done.
It is.
Finito.
It's gone. It's out of here.
Well, as of, but
Yeah.
officially announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mid-September.
Actually, September. Okay. So they're
I'm
replacing
reading
it.
September 14th.
They're replacing it with Xbox Game Pass Core, which is going to be $10 a month or $60 a year. Well, that's definitely by the yearly. Jesus, that's like half price, right? I'm doing the math right. That should be $120
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah,
that math
that's
very fast,
half-
very quickly.
That's half price.
Man,
It's the Crocs. They make you smart.
I had my V8 today.
Yeah.
I mean, you should just probably get regular Game Pass.
Yeah,
Is what
that's the
this is
thing about
telling
this is you don't get access to like the full library of Game Pass games.
So what is that new Xbox Core giving you?
It's going to give you access to 25 plus games on Series X and S and Xbox One, including games like Gears 5, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Grounded, Halo 5, Inside, Elder Scrolls Online. I'm getting all this from GameSpot. New titles will be added 2 to 3 times a year, but you will not have like full Game Pass. But you will be able to play online.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I mean, will it? I wonder if it'll always be 25 games. Like will they swap in and out and it'll always be 25?
That's a good question.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Because yeah, like you said,
Kind of
it's
sounds
got
like what they're doing.
Ori now, State of Decay 2, whatever. But then yeah, like next year those may be gone, and which I'm sure that's the whole model of Game Pass, of course. It's just gonna keep giving you free stuff.
It does seem like a smart kind of branding because it was a little like confusing. Like, well, what's Xbox Live compared to Game Pass? Do you get Xbox Live if you get Game Pass? Like,
Yeah,
what's going on there?
if you had asked me before this news hit today, what is Xbox Live Gold and does it exist today, I would have definitely been like, ugh.
Yeah.
What I probably would have said was like, I think it's just for like if you want to play games online. That would have been my response. Which is basically what it is.
Basically what it is.
I don't know if it included any sort of game stuff before. So maybe that's what it was. And what it is that now is they're like maybe adding in like a little more of like a few games to kind of maybe that's the article I would like to see. What is the change today between Xbox Live Gold and Core? But maybe that's it, is to incentivize you to get on Game Pass, because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And Game Pass allows you to play online, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you don't need to get Game Pass and then Xbox Live.
No.
Because that would be.
But it was a little
Yeah,
confusing.
so you might as well get Game Pass then.
Yeah, but you do. So I wonder. Remember how with
Actually,
Xbox Live Gold you used to be able to download games and like
Games
add
with
them to your
gold,
library.
yeah.
Yeah, games to gold. I wonder if those being added to your library will stay in your library with core. Probably, but I'd like to know for sure.
It's such a weird thing to just even now that Watts asked, I'm like, we better double check this. It's a weird thing to even say. It just sounds weird to me still that like, well, you're gonna have to pay if you want to play that game online. You're like, but I bought the game and it is online.
Yeah,
Right?
it was
Yeah.
something with this, like, that's not my responsibility to figure out. You're like, but it sounds weird to say still. I mean, PlayStation's been doing it forever.
when it was new. It felt more rational. Like when back in the OG Xbox, the
Right.
original Xbox, and like the PlayStation 2 era, even in the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 era, because it's so new, and it came with so many services that you wouldn't get like normally.
Yeah,
But
so
now
actually,
it just feels
no,
like it should be table stakes.
I knew there was something going on here. I think, yeah, I believe based on this is from Xbox.com, and if the functionality is as like I'm thinking it is, Ultimate. So right, there's Game Pass Ultimate, there's PC Game
Right.
Pass
Yes.
Ultimate. That includes online console multiplayer. It does not include regular Game Pass. Does not include online console multiplayer. So
So
I
if you are
think-
an Xbox player, you're gonna need to get that Ultimate Game Pass.
if you want to
No,
play,
that can't be right.
that's literally what it is. And I think that's the trick, right? Game Pass now costs roughly $11. They're saying this is just for the console edition, for example. And this is from Xbox.com's Game Pass site. I'll double check the FAQ, but I mean it's the check mark, right? Online console multiplayer
Right.
costs $17 roughly. That's per
So
month. I'll double check the FAQ. That's wild, right?
so you'd need to get Ultimate.
Yeah, like I mean,
No,
you could just buy
no.
Game Pass and play Ori for $11 on your console, or if you want to play whatever some other online game,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have to have the $17 version. That's what I'm seeing.
That can't be right. Like Game Pass on
I mean,
console
it could
has
be-
got to include multiplayer access because Core does for sure. So if you were to spend more to get Game Pass console, then it wouldn't.
So you're gonna you're gonna have to get it seems like you have Game Pass where you can play like as many offline games as you want that are on Game Pass. Then you have Core that has some games but with online functionality. And then if you want both, you have to get Ultimate.
Man, what the?
Yeah, like
frick?
here. So again, like the check marks are really separated. You can see it as well in like the reports. This image was leaked of like Core. There's 3 check marks. For Core, actually, though. Yeah, sorry. So to step back, Core does, because that's what Xbox Live Gold was. So let's make sure we're not confused about where we went with the conversation. Core was Gold, which did include online multiplayer. And so you get 25 games with that. That's fine. But then when we talk about Game Pass, they do not include online console multiplayer unless you have the Ultimate Edition. And from the Game Pass FAQ on Xbox.com, can I play online multiplayer games in the Xbox Game Pass catalog? Yes, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate includes all benefits of Xbox Live Gold. They're going to have to change that language, which gives you access to multiplayer games on your console. Free-to-play games include online multiplayer. With an Xbox Live Gold subscription, Windows games in the catalog don't require a separate subscription for online multiplayer gaming.
Wow.
We rag on so many companies for making things complicated.
Yeah.
Why do they keep reiterating their current complicated plan and making it complicated?
Oh, I can't imagine ragging on Microsoft for making things seem complicated. Who can't even name a console?
Just have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Then I understand that tier 1 is the basic, and then tier 2 there's a step up, and then tier 3. But like, it doesn't help that they're called Game Pass Ultimate, and then you've got Core and like PC Game Pass.
Yeah,
PC Game
I
Pass.
thought Ultimate was just a combination of console and PC Game Pass.
That's what
I
I
didn't
thought.
realize that.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
You
I thought
needed
that
it
too.
to get.
That's it.
And I wanted to make sure I didn't misspeak. Free-to-play games include online multiplayer without Xbox Live Gold subscription. I think I said with, because in the
Okay.
moment I was like, what is
Okay.
going on?
All right.
Okay.
So at least for free-to-play, that stuff's still included without it. But yeah, like
Right.
it's the little things like that where it's like Windows games in the catalog don't require a separate subscription for online multiplayer. I'm just still confused. But anyway, it's still a good,
Xbox.
yeah,
There you go.
it's still good value overall.
It is
Let's
good
face it.
value. It's just
I don't
yeah, it's
think
just
so. I just
confusing.
canceled it.
So
Brian, just
so
I
you did
literally
a little
canceled it like a month ago. I'm like, I don't play any of these games. I'm not gonna pay for this month to month.
Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm not playing any of those games. I'm gonna when a game comes
Oops.
out that I want to play on Game Pass, I will start paying for it again. But I'm not gonna just
that makes
feed
sense.
them money while I'm not playing on my Xbox.
I hope you don't want to play. I don't know if Starfield has any like. Does
Online
Starfield
stuff?
have any? I don't think you can join anyone's world now.
I don't know.
That's probably all you got to worry about for like 6 months.
Can I segue into something with Game Pass?
Yes.
A new game came out on Friday called Exoprimal.
Oh,
from
that came out?
Capcom,
Never heard of it.
and it is on.
You mean Dino
Game
Crisis
Pass.
too?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
wait,
people are like,
Dino
we want
Crisis 3?
Dino Crisis. So
Was
It-
there
this
Dino
is,
Crisis 2?
people want Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
It's
Watts
real
has been
bad.
playing it.
Yeah?
I've been playing a lot. So essentially what it is, I'll explain just like a kind of a TLDR that won't cover all of it at all. But there's teams of 5 against another team of 5 in competitive PvE. And then there's some PvP elements depending on the game mode. There's 11 total modes that you can play in Exoprimal. Some of them have you working with the other team in like a kind of raid-like encounter, which is very cool. And then others have like push the payload from Overwatch, and that has some PvP in it while also fighting dinosaurs. You're fighting waves and waves and billions upon billions of dinosaurs falling from the sky. It's I
It's
don't know. I
raining
don't know
dinosaurs.
how they managed to have hundreds of dinosaurs on the screen without dropping any frames or any performance issues, but I guess that's the RE engine for you.
Yeah.
It's just
Their
it's
patented
magic.
Raptor tech.
Yeah, it's freaking magic. And so when I heard about it, I was like, this might be correct. I'm not crazy about dinosaurs, okay? I'm not
What?
ready to
You don't like
consume
dinosaurs?
everything. I'm not ready to consume everything dino, all right? You don't put dino in your game and you're like, ooh, dinosaurs, yeah.
Does it feel too generic, you mean, for you in the
No,
concept?
it's just dinos.
afraid of
I've
dinos?
just never cared about dinosaurs. Just like
Oh.
like if you put pirates in the game, I'm like, I don't care about pirates.
Okay.
I know, Briar.
Except
I
for
know,
Sea of
Briar.
Thieves.
Stop it. We're moving on.
Except for Sea of
So
Thieves. You take that back.
I've undone all the Croc goodwill. It's gone.
Yeah, that was fast. It didn't last 20 minutes.
It didn't last very long. So yeah, I was like, I would. So Remnant 2 is coming out this Friday. So I was like, I've got like a week to play this game. Nothing else is really happening. I'm down to give it a try. And now I am obsessed with Exoprimal. I am so in love with this game. It feels like a very special game in the current gaming landscape because it feels like it's a game that was just created to be fun. Like we just want to create a game that's like silly, awesome, fun. And a super high quality game. Like all the animations are great. All of the different exosuits that you can play, because there's 3 different classes. There's assault, tank, and support. And there's I think there's 10 total. So you can play any of those. And I tried them all out. They're all really, really, really fun, which I can't say for every game that has a kind of similar thing to it. And yeah, it's great.
So,
It's really
yeah, I know you've played some Overwatch, right?
Yes.
So if you had to, compare the two in a, why might you want to play it if you've played Overwatch? Do you feel there's similarity there at all?
So there is, with just that one game mode being the payload game mode, where you have to escort this thing to the end and beat the enemy team. But the way that they kind of structure it is they have a kind of a pure PvE section in most of these modes where you're just trying to beat the other team to clear dinosaur waves as fast as possible. And then there's a second part where you teleport to a different arena that has like both teams plus dinosaurs. And with the payload one, like you can rush to the other team and try and mess with them right away. But what most people tend to do is they wait until the end where the 2 payloads kind of collide, and then it's just pure madness. And you can also take control of dinosaurs, by the way. So you can turn into a T-Rex. You can turn into
You
a.
can turn into a T-Rex?
Yep. And that instantly teleports you to the other team. So that is like the more PvE PvP mode. There is the more PvE mode, which is basically Gambit, but instead of invading through a portal with heavy ammo, you invade as a dinosaur.
Hmm.
You get to run around and chomp on people.
Man,
Yeah, I played the beta.
I have seen so much like build up for this game. Like they showed it at like every conference, and every time I'm like, I don't know, this one's for me.
Right?
But knowing that I can play Gambit and control the dinosaur, suddenly I'm like, this may
It's
be for me.
fast. It's a very fast-paced game.
And it's really interesting because initially I was like, it's like Dino Gambit Overwatch because you unlock modes as you level up. So you don't have all 11 modes right away. But as I started going, I was like, I don't know what this game is anymore. This game is just madness because the modes get more intense. I think they start you with like the slightly less intense modes for you to try out different characters, kind of figure out what's going on. And then you're just like, that's when you see the dinos raining from the sky. And you see that your tank is in the middle of approximately 500 dinosaurs. You're like, Jesus Christ. And then they have this mode, which they didn't show. And I understand why they're not showing it because they might not want spoilers because it's a pretty awesome experience. But if they had showed this one mode in their marketing, I think more people would have been excited about it because you're fighting a massive dinosaur. I won't say which one, but a massive one. And instead of going against each other, the 5v5 teams ending in PvP, it ends in a 10-man raid-like encounter with this massive dinosaur.
No kidding.
With full-on raid encounters that you have to interact with. So I was just, when I reached there, I was like, I don't know what this game is anymore. This game's crazy. Absolute madness. I don't know. Insanity. So yeah,
Yeah, people been having fun.
It's a game that feels really good and it's just a lot of fun. And it has like a season pass and stuff, but compared to other games that have season pass or they have like a store where you can buy some skins and stuff, I've gotten like 4 top tier skins for free. I haven't had to pay anything. They're very liberal with the in-game currency, so you can buy whatever you want.
That's how they get them hooked.
So
Give them a little bit of the free.
yeah, it's really impressive. And they have a roadmap. They have a new map coming out July 28th. They also have a collaboration with Capcom where you can be Ryu and punch dinosaurs in the face. You can be Guile as well. Robot Ryu and Robot Guile. And
You're
they're
selling me
having
this
a
game pretty
collaboration.
hard.
And they also have a Capcom with Monster Hunter later, which we don't know what that is. I have a feeling it would make sense to have the Monster Hunter collab be like that kind of raid-like encounter. You know, put a monster from Monster Hunter in there and have you fight them. I think that would be super cool. So yeah, initially I was like, I'll just try it out. You know, I got time to waste. Sure, why not? And then now I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep playing.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a little Twitch raid from Mylan last night, who I was like, this is kind of
Yeah.
late. I was like, did he
Yeah.
stream longer today? And they're like, yeah, he kept saying one more. He was playing Exoprimal and he played like an extra couple of hours because
Wow.
sounds like the gameplay loop is good. And
It's
I
a
think
fun
related
time.
to that, I was going to ask, like, why do you want to keep grinding? Is it just because it's fun or is you like also because you're leveling stuff up?
Yeah, so it's super fun, but also as you level each character up, you unlock modules. And those modules can do like little basic things like it'll increase your reload speed or it will make you move
Mods.
faster when you're below a certain health. But then there's other mods that really kind of change the way that you play the character. So you're like, oh, I want to reach that point where I can try this kind of build that I'm thinking about for this character to see how that plays out. So that's been the thing where I'm like, I want to level these characters up so I can get the cosmetics for them, the emblems, the like player card stuff, and the mods to change and see how they play at like the top level.
Nice. Yeah, I played the beta. I liked it. I had that same like I was surprised. It's like this feels good. It looks good. Yeah, it
Yeah.
runs on the RE engine and like
Yeah.
I like that Capcom took a swing with it and it's clear. I would love to hear the origin story of this one of like
Yeah, me
sort
too.
of what was the team like, how did this come together and like why take a swing like this? Or was it just that they were like which I don't think it was this that they got in a room with a bunch of execs like we could really make an Overwatch-ish game, but what's it gonna be? Like I don't know it was that. I think they were passionate to try something and they maybe put together a modest sized team, and it's just cool to see. I'm always a big fan when big companies are not just making, Resident Evil 9 and so on, which I want
Yeah.
that, but I also want to see stuff like this. You need to iterate and experiment, and it seems like even if the game doesn't become the biggest thing in the world, they've got a really good win of like, yeah, like we made something that people had a lot of fun with. Let's see how long it lasts and go from there.
Yeah, definitely.
Capcom feels like they're just firing on all cylinders right now. They're
Yeah.
just nailing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what you said, Fran. I'm playing the game and I'm like, everything looks so good and everything feels so good. And all of the characters have these really unique animations that look incredible. And I'm having no frame drops. The game runs perfectly. Yeah, it's really
PC?
cool.
Are you playing on PC?
I am on PC. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
on Steam.
RE Engine was one of the best things that happened to the studio, but I think the mix in leadership and everything over the past, whatever it is, 5 to 7 years or whatever, has been just huge. It is amazing. Like everything they're doing is like another win for Capcom,
Yeah.
which is not normal.
Yeah.
Companies all the time, struggle because making games is tough. So good for them.
Yeah, it's super fun. So if you do jump in, it is on Game Pass, PC and console. I would say for the early levels, because you only have 2 modes unlocked at the beginning, try out all the different characters and see what you're kind of vibing with while you're in those slightly less hectic matches. And then you start unlocking stuff. There's 11 total, so keep going.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of cool
Yeah,
stuff in there.
that's what I liked about it. I mean, I guess with the Overwatch experience, I wasn't afraid to I was like, we have no support. I'm like, you can hot swap while you're playing, and
Yeah.
I assume most of the modes. And I was like, oh, that's the strategy, is getting people to realize you're stuck at something, and like somebody switches their character, and the synergy changes, and like that is what made it fun. Is I wasn't just trying to play like one character and master it right away.
Yeah, and you don't lose your super when you switch characters, so you're
Oh,
very free to kind of do that whenever you
also,
want.
that's huge. Nice.
Very cool. I like it a lot. Give it a try.
Okay.
Speaking of taking a chance, oh wait, I had a segue, but if you've got something, Briar.
Oh, good.
I was saying, speaking of taking chances and missing, you all might remember that game Forspoken,
I do.
which
Mhm.
I played and I thought had some really redeeming qualities and some really annoying, like just at odds with itself problems of like, again, the maybe short recap of Forspoken was Luminous, the company that did, they sort of were part of Square Enix as a subsidiary, but kind of their own thing with their own engine, Final Fantasy 15. They moved on, did Forspoken. But yeah, it had like this weird mix of like wants to be a cool new story from a company like Square with these big cinematics and conversations and all. But then it was like this crazy, really fast open world parkour, like monstrous world, which you zoom through. You don't see that a lot. And the engine was able to do it. Just massive fights with like 40 spells on cooldown once you get there. And so I liked that side of it, the parkour and the huge world and the spells, and enemies needed work, and they drag you through some like really slow stuff. But anyway, the DLC finally came out, is the point. That came out at the end of May, but a lot between that and Diablo coming out and Zelda coming out, and that I wasn't able to check it out. But I finally did, and it's I would say if you played Forspoken and you liked those redeeming parts, it's worth jumping into. It is technically, I think it's a $20 DLC if you didn't buy the deluxe edition on top of. Right, that was a $70 game, so keep that in mind. But I got it on sale for $12.50 on Steam, so I don't know if it's on sale on PlayStation. I wouldn't be surprised, or Xbox. But yeah, if you liked it, I'd say it's worth checking out. But they make the same mistakes, even though it was improved, and the same mistakes being like I won't spoil it, but they like bring you back to back in time effectively. And then you have no powers. All the cool stuff that I earned that I really was like, I wanted to just use that for another few hours in like another piece of the story, because like the mastery of that is what makes it fun. And they take it all away again. And even though they give you like some new magic, it's just not enough. It's like just
I
a
didn't
few
realize they
spells.
took it away, because that would be,
For the
I think,
DLC,
the
yeah.
enticing part of the DLC is to start like a new adventure with all of those tools that you have.
Yeah, because it's and yeah, after I beat the DLC, because you can definitely do it in a quick 3 to 4 hours, and it's a much more better, more contained story. It's way more tolerable than the stuff they drag you through in that long 40-hour or whatever campaign. So it's decent, but for me, I like the gameplay at max, and I feel like too many games. I talk about it a lot. Like drip feed you a bunch of stuff to get you 40 hours into a game. And then you get there, you're like, actually, I wish I had this stuff sooner, but you're like, the game's over. And so the way Forspoken works is they dump you back out into the world and you can actually explore. I mean, I still haven't seen all the map. It's just monstrous. So that part's cool. You can just kind of run around and fight like, weird insect monsters. And occasionally it's, hordes of people that don't have the best move sets in the world. But yeah, it's kind of like chill fun in that sense. And I like having all those max powers. But then as for the DLC, like I said, it kind of starts you over. And I'm like you said, Watts, I wish they just took all that good stuff. It would have required you beating the game, though. You can just,
Right.
if you
Yeah.
own the
That's
game, you
true.
can just buy the DLC and play this instead. But it is going to cost you more. So, but I know some people like the game, so I wanted to mention it.
Speaking of gigantic worlds,
That's all segues today.
there's just news that came out of Star Wars Outlaws, that game that was just shown off at E3, or not
Yeah.
E3, the Summer Game Fest.
Not the naughty 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the not E3 event that we had last
Fake E3.
last month.
Yep.
The planets, there's several planets in the game, and each of the planets is as big as an entire Assassin's Creed game, which the
What?
recent Assassin's Creed games are pretty big.
What?
And
Yeah.
they're not procedurally generated, they're handcrafted.
That's a big game.
Yeah.
That's like Assassin's Creed game. If you're talking about like Valhalla
Yeah.
and stuff,
They said
like
it was Odyssey.
Odyssey was
Odyssey.
like,
Odyssey is massive.
yeah,
They
that
say
was
what-
gigantic.
Well, this is a quote from,
What the heck?
Julian Grady, which,
He's-
by the way, he was on Division. Awesome dude.
Oh.
Awesome to see him working on this as creative director. But he says it's a crude analogy, but the size of one planet might be equivalent to 2 zones of the zones in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It
Dang.
could be 2 to 3 zones, but it's not this sort of epic, the whole of England recreated approach. So it sounds big. Yeah. The size of
Very
one
big.
planet alone might be 2 or 3 of the zones of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
That's impressive.
Wow.
I do wonder, like, with it being so big, how much time is going to be just traveling between locations, and how much time is going to be, one of the things I like about Assassin's Creed Odyssey was that it did kind of suffer from that that Ubisoft kind of like, there's just map markers everywhere. But
Yeah.
in Odyssey, there's just so many of them were just like cool things, like, oh, here's like a Minotaur's maze. Here's like, this like, ancient, puzzle. Like there's a lot of just cool stuff in that one. Same with was it Origins? That was the one in Egypt, right? I think it was Origins. Anyhow.
Yes, yeah, it was, I think. Mhm.
Like, if they fill a world with like cool stuff, then that's awesome. But if it's just like a lot of space, like some of the early
Yeah.
GTA games kind of remind me of this. It's like you get a phone call, you got to drive across the city, but you don't do anything. You're avoiding
Drive.
cars and
What
get
you
there.
You change your radio to match the car you're in. Like, if you're in the mob boss car, you gotta have the opera going on.
Sure, that's a good idea.
Style points.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this game, obviously, but this seems cool.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It
that's
seems very cool.
the important point to hit on for sure, Briar. Like in the demo they show, I was questioning. I was like, at first I kept saying, I was like, wait, can you turn off that path and go over there?
Yeah.
And at first I was like, it looks like, nah, this is just like kind of linear, go to town. And then like they turned off path in part of it. And then they talked about, I was like, oh, you can apparently. But the question is definitely like, is there a lot of stuff to do? Does it feel too big, etc.? And how do
Yeah.
they structure the core of the game along, the side quest? But you hit on it. I mean, it's Assassin's Creed company and Division company and so on. Like, it's not like they don't have experience creating worlds like this. So they have a lot of data on how to screw that up and also how to do it right. So
Yeah.
True.
seemingly, it seems like it's going to be pretty dope. But
That
it
seems like
sounds
it's gonna
pretty.
be pretty dope.
I mean,
It
it sounds
seems
pretty
cool.
ambitious because remember, you can just literally like hop in your ship and fly in, real time loading off planet and start fighting in outer space and
Oh,
then
God.
dock and then warp and then go to the
Mm.
next and make it all relatively seamless. And so it's pretty ambitious.
I'm
I
so
think,
excited. When is this game coming out? Is it coming out this year?
No,
No.
they said next year,
Next
but
year.
there was before they
think there was a
revealed
date.
it, there was already reports about. I mean, it was a couple sources from unknown position, I think, at Ubisoft that had said that it still sounds. It seemed like it needed more time.
Okay.
So
Take
I
your
wouldn't be
time.
surprised if it
Take your
slipped.
time.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I would love to have it next year, but I think there's a chance GTA could come out next year too. Remember, so they're both kind of like down this path of like if GTA 6 and this game come out even in the same ecosphere, it's too much.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are also looking forward to the Star Wars game because of Andor, because that was a non-Jedi focused Star Wars story that felt very Star Wars, but didn't follow kind of the I don't cliche is maybe a bit too strong of a word, but the cliche kind of stories that you have for Star Wars. So having a game that's like, oh, this is following like kind of a regular person in the Star Wars world. It's gonna be interesting how they do that in a game. Because
Also,
Andor was great.
yeah, watch Star Wars Andor if you
Yeah.
haven't, even if you don't give a shit about Star Wars, because it's just good
Mm-hmm.
goddamn TV.
I've
It
been
is.
wanting to. It's on my list.
It's so good. I
It's
think
very good.
season 2 is coming soon, actually.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
Good binge
actor
watch.
strike isn't going to mess that up. I don't know if they're
Oh,
done
man.
filming that or
Sure
not.
it will.
I'm out of segues.
Um,
Speaking of
let's see.
There's been a
segues,
lot of.
Speaking of segues, water, diving, fishing.
Oh yeah, Watts
sushi.
played
oh, have you been
a
playing?
water game.
What's it
I
called?
played Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Dave the Diver. Let's see how many hours I have. I have 4 hours, so not
Nice.
super long, but it's very cool. It's very, very, very cool. So you start out as just you're this diver, and you're going to go get fish for the sushi restaurant. And so you have this section that is kind of a roguelike in the sea because you go in and you're finding like different harpoons to get fish with. You're finding different weapons because you will have to fight some kind of hostile fish. They're not all
Hostile
little baby
fish.
fish. Yeah, some hot like a shark.
Oh,
Dang.
Chop,
sure. That
chop
would
up
be
shark.
a hostile fish.
You thought it
And
was
there's
funny until you thought of the shark.
It's true.
and then there's guns and other stuff that you can get. So there's
Hey guys, so sorry for the abrupt ending to today's podcast. Sadly, I lost power and I was in charge of streaming and recording the podcast. So it ends kind of abruptly, but we figured we'd post it anyway. Thank you all for listening and we'll see you next time. Bye.